Hello, hello. I don't know where my glasses are. Let me. Ah, they are here. And drop stuff on the floor. It's okay. What's up, y'all? How are you doing? I hope all is well. And that you had a great Monday. I had a great Monday, productive Monday, busy Monday, all of the above, but I hope all is well on your end. And I am getting my stuff up today and we will get started. But as you guys are coming in, let me know where you're watching from, if this is your first time. And we'll get started in just a second. As soon as I get my stuff together. Forgive me for my tardiness. I know I'm a bit late here, but it's okay, y'all. We here. We are here. Okay. All right. So if this is your first time, my name is Debbie. I am a certified mindfulness coach. We talk about all things mindfulness on this channel. The meditations that you hear on the channel are my voice. Thank you so much for joining. If this is your first time, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure to like the live. And stick around, ask questions. We're talking about managing societal stressors or just environmental stressors in general. And how we can manage that. But then I also have affirmations for you today. I have 5 affirmations and actually 2 journaling prompts because I feel like this is something that we should probably take our time and think about. So there's 5 affirmations, 2 journaling prompts today on managing societal stressors. And what I'm going to do is, of course, as always, I have a few talking points just to kind of give us some encouragement when it comes to societal stress. I know that it's tough right now when it comes to societal stressors, especially when it comes to political stressors. We're in the middle of the political season, and let's just be honest, I'm exhausted, okay? This is exhausting. Just having to think about who we're going to vote for, watching all of these things. Hey, Hiru, how are you? Watching all of the things that are going on, more so US based. Hiru, I know you're in the UK. But I'm sure that there are societal stressors that everyone is worried about across the world, whatever that looks like for you. So I want to just kind of touch on a few ways to manage stress and how we can help support each other in that. And I'm making sure that I thought my live went through on Instagram, but it didn't. So just a second, y'all, as I get it up here. I think I might have went went live on my personal page instead of my business page. So that's not helpful. Okay, almost there. And then we have how many talking points? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 talking points just on how we can overcome stress. And then we'll get into the affirmations and the 2 journal prompts. I can't talk today, y'all. Bear with me. But definitely let me know in the comments how you are, how you're feeling today. I hope all is well. And also, when I looked at the poll, the topic for today was number 1, And then when I went back right before the live, it was something different. So I'll do that second one next week. There we go. We're all good. Yeah, when I looked up the poll, establishing my values moved into number one. So we'll do that for next week and then do this topic. Hi Shaphonia, how are you? So we'll do that next week. No problem. No problem. Okay, so we are good on Instagram now. So managing societal stressors. So the first point I want us to think about when thinking about external stressors or societal stressors, environmental stressors, and just for anyone that's not quite sure what that means, like our internal stressors are what really happens internally, like with our bodies, with our health, with our thought patterns, our defense mechanisms, the things that we create in our minds. Our external stressors are what's happening around us, those things that we may not have full control over, but they still impact us from day to day. So however you define what the external stressors are is for each individual person. And it may change from day to day, from week to week, from month to month. It may be different seasons. There's a such thing as seasonal depression. It can be so many different things. So just think about what makes the most sense for you and what stresses you out the most when it comes to the external factors, and focus on those things. Some of the things I may talk about may not apply to you. You may not stress out about these things. But wanted to make sure that I kind of kept it broad because I know that we all have our own situations that we're dealing with when it comes to the countries that we live in, the regions, the cities, the state. There's so many different aspects. Even for those who are in Florida right now, they're most likely dealing with a lot of the things that has to do with the hurricane right now. I live in Chicago, so it's not something that's impacting me. So when it comes to external stressors, I want to be sensitive to those things and understand that it may look different from day to day. So the first thing when it comes to how to overcome our societal stressors is awareness. Always starts with self-awareness, right? How and what is affecting us and impacting us on a day-to-day to the point where it shifts our moods, it shifts our thought patterns, it shifts our attitudes towards certain things, it shifts even maybe how we operate from day to day. So really thinking about those things. So just a few examples. Social media pressure. It's a big one. How much time are you spending on social media? What are you looking at on social media? And is that impacting your stress levels, and being really cognizant of that? Economic and global uncertainty. So we already talked about the political climate. In the US, we're worried about our food and how things are made and processed. And, we had just an issue with ports, the people at the ports being on strike. There's so many different things that we had to deal with that in just the past week that we're concerned about. So economic and then even global uncertainty when it comes to rumors of war and war, like all of those things. Political climate. I'm so sick of the vice president texting me. Listen, I'm over it on both sides, Republican and Democrat. I'm over it, y'all. I'm over it. Workforce pressures, just in the workforce in general, it's been hard out here for people to find jobs. Racial and social injustice, that's the norm. Look at my face, obviously, right? Overstimulation, like I feel like we just live in a society where it's like go, 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 go. There is no stopping. And a lot of our stress is linked to just being overstimulated, whether that be through technology, whether that be just the things that we have to do from day to day, going to different places, going from store to store. I know that I hate shopping now because once you go in one store, you're just overwhelmed with ads and overwhelmed with the, shopping and prices. We have an influx in our pricing right now when it comes to the US. So just overstimulation in general. Health pressures, educational and achievement stress. Education in general right now, the cost of going to Hey, I'm in grad school, y'all. The cost is up here. Okay? Everything. Books, tuition. Like I need to, my degree needs to fly by the time I get it. Okay? Yeah, so health pressures, educational achievement and stress, technology advancement. I mean, some people are all for AI. There's some things when it comes to AI that scares me. So just like thinking about those things, body image and beauty standards. Look, y'all got this, my hair is the way it is today. Okay? It's a little frizzy. That's okay. That's what it's going to be. Family and relationship expectations is a big one. If we have the expectations of our family members or just friendships or romantic relationships, those pressures, even though they are close, and sometimes we may think of them as like more of internal stressors, when it comes to relationships in general, whether it be romantic, family, friends, workplace, whatever, there is an element of that we can't control, right? We can't control the actions of other people, what other people do, say, think in regards to us directly. So I always put that as a societal stress because there is an element of it that we can't control. And then consumerism or materialism, I kind of talked about that a little bit, but just being a consumer in general can be stressful. So just like understanding what external stressors are, what that looks like, and having the awareness to understand that what affects us and what doesn't affect us is what's most important when exploring societal, environmental, just external stressors altogether. So I hope that gives you guys some insight. So when it comes to overcoming or managing these things, 1, focus on what you can control. 2, making sure to set boundaries based off of your limitations and traumas. Ask for help and be creative in problem solving, which is very important when it comes to these types of stressors. And then practice gratitude and self-compassion are what's most important, because a lot of this is a matter of things that we cannot control. And sometimes we find ourselves in a lot of stress, worried about things that we're not meant to worry about, or worry about things that we have no control over. And the more that you try to control it, the more stressed and burned out you tend to be. Okay? So make sure to think about what those things are for you. It may look different for you. And then figure out what aspects of those things you can control and what you can't control, and focus on the things that you can control, right? And if you haven't liked the live, if you haven't subscribed, make sure to like and subscribe. I appreciate you all. So what's in your control, right? Thinking about what's in your control, your thought pattern, right? How you think about these different things, reframing those things to be more in a space of what you can actually control versus just thinking of it as just one big ball of something. So like thinking about politics, for example, right? We can't control necessarily how politicians are or who they are. We can't necessarily control the things that they say. We can't control, 100% what the outcome may be. All we can do is focus on our part, right? So our part is educating ourselves in this space, educating ourselves on both sides and understanding, what their main policies are, and then based off of that, voting off of that, right? That's all we can do. That's what we can control, right? So thinking about those things, doing what we can control so that way we can sleep and rest easy at night. Okay, so shifting our thoughts, how reframing, and seeing what thoughts that are creating more stress in those spaces, but then also controlling what we give our attention to. If we're spending a lot of time and giving all of our attention to things that we can't control, that may be where the stress is coming from or where the stress is building up. So thinking about how we think about these different aspects or these different areas of our lives, shifting or reframing our thoughts in those spaces, and then also shifting how much attention we're giving to it. right? If it's stressing you out and it's not something that you can control, do what you can do and then move on. Sometimes we get into stress because we instant replay or replay things over and over and over again to an extent that it stresses us out just thinking about it. Okay, so focus on what we control, shifting our thoughts and attention. The other one is challenging unrealistic expectations. Sometimes we overestimate or we have these expectations that are super unrealistic. And sometimes we have to challenge those things and say, is this realistic? Is this something that I can take on? Sometimes we just want to save the world. We can't. We can't save the world, guys. Like, we can do our part. And I think about these things when it comes to like war or when it comes to like different societal pressures and injustices. Yes, it's annoying. Yes, it's frustrating. Yes, it's something that we want to fix. But all we can do is our part. And I'm not saying to not do your part. I'm just saying us fixating and really thinking on it and just being really passionate about it to the point where it stresses us out is detrimental to us personally. So again, going and doing what you can do and doing your part. For me, homelessness, like, just frustrates me. It infuriates me every time I see someone. But all I can do is my part. So my part is, if I see someone, I help them. If I have the ability to help them, then I help them. If I don't have the ability to help them, then I pray for them. That's all I can do, right? I can only control what I can do. And I think sometimes we get so in these unrealistic expectations, not to say miracles can't happen, not to say that we aren't powerful, beautiful, wonderful people that can get things done, and not to say that profits aren't there to help move these things forward. Not to say that we can't write to our congressmen. Not to say that we can't do any of that, right? Or women. Not to say that we can't do any of that. Not saying that. Just saying that when it comes to our own personal stress and all of the things that we're trying to manage and do, we add additional stress by putting these unrealistic expectations on ourselves to be superhuman, right? We aren't a Marvel character. We're not Captain Marvel or none of them, right? We can only do what we can do. And if we can focus on what we can control, which is what we can do in our own spaces, that's what's most important. So shift your thoughts and attention, challenge unrealistic expectations, be proactive. Is the next one. So what can you realistically do for change in these spaces? And then sometimes it's quieting the noise. Sometimes we just have too many things happening at one time, and that creates the stress when it comes to environmental things, right? So with all of the things that is happening with the Diddy situation, then we got politics, then we got hurricanes. Then we got ports closing. Then we got high prices in the grocery store. Then we worried about sickness and COVID and all this stuff. And by the way, my hair is a mess. Like, we're thinking about all of these things, right? And sometimes we have to turn down the noise, quiet the noise to refill our cups in order to continue to manage. So you may have to shut down the social media for a couple of days. You may have to not watch TV for a day or two. You may have to just find ways to recuperate yourselves and do that more often than not, because if you feel overstimulated or often feel overwhelmed or burned out, you have to find ways to refill your cup, whether that be as meditation, whether that be with, just giving yourself, I don't like to say isolate, but sometimes I just need to be by myself for a day or two just to kind of regroup, and then I can go back out into the world and do all the things that I need to do. Go to the spa, work out, be creative, find ways that you can refill your cup. And as often as you need to refill your cup, do that. Don't allow your cup to get all the way empty with nothing at the bottom of it. You got it turned over like this and you're trying to shake stuff out. Don't let it get that low. When it starts to get to like, oh, I only got one sip left, pull back, give yourself some space and refill your cup. And the more that we are cognizant of our cup levels, the more that we can do something about it in the moment versus us waiting until we're depleted and then trying to fix something at that point. At that point, to me, it's too late. It's too late. If my cup is empty and I'm flipping it over, to me that's too late. So really thinking about that and thinking about what you can control and going from there. So we talked about shifting your thoughts and attention, challenge unrealistic expectations, be proactive, and quiet the noise. Set boundaries, choose your battles, right? That's the next one. Set boundaries and know and be aware of your limitations and choose your battles. Sometimes we choose to fight battles that we don't need to even fight. Okay? So we trying to fight battles and we got 2 spoons and a fork. All right? Choose your battles and fight for what's most important, and those things that, and I'm talking about this in relationships too with other people. Sometimes just let people be who they are. Just let them be them, let them do them, and let them be who they are. You don't have to argue with everybody. And I think that's where stressors come in, is because we try to fight every battle with people, and sometimes it's just useless. People want to be who they're gonna be. Is that it? Oh, ask for help and be creative in problem solving, which we've talked about before. But yes, ask for help and be creative in your problem solving, thinking outside the box, thinking about ways that you can solve issues, especially when it comes to when I'm thinking about just finances right now and financial stuff. Just finding ways to save money in ways that I haven't thought about before, and really being okay with those things. If you got to pull back in your finances and your spending, then pull back in your spending. There's no shame in that. That's okay. You're just being really thoughtful about, what's going on. So thinking about all of those things when it comes to problem solving and thinking outside of the box. And then lastly, practice gratitude and self-compassion. Give yourself a break. Give yourself compassion. Give yourself empathy. Thinking about and shifting your mindset to what you're grateful for, what you're thankful for. Shift your mind to the beauty in life versus the chaos in life. And what you think about is what you become. And if you think about chaos all day, you will have chaos. Not just in your life externally, but internally. You will have chaos in your mind. You'll have chaos in your body with sickness and things of that matter. So eliminating those stressors, or not necessarily eliminating it, because a lot of those stressors you're not going to be able to eliminate, but being better about managing those stressors will help with managing the internal stressors, because what's happening on the external, you don't want it to penetrate what's internal. Okay, so those are how many was that? That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So those are the 5 ways to help overcome our external stressors. So when it comes to affirmations, I just have 5 affirmations today and 2 journal prompts, okay? So the first one, I'll go through the affirmations first. Affirmation number 1 is, I am conscious of the stresses around me, but they do not define my worth. I am conscious of the stresses around me, but they do not define my worth. I am conscious of the stressors around me, but they do not define my worth. So we allow society to fully shape our values and identity instead of looking within ourselves. And that's what creates the stress, because we feel like our worth is based on what society tells us it should be versus what God tells me it should be. And it's not associated with society and environment. It's based off of my internal character, my internal values. And even when it comes to our character is flawed, and that's okay. So when we have stressors externally, a lot of times we're equating the aspects of society, we're basing that as a form of our own worth. And when we're able to start stripping ourselves of that and removing that ideology from our minds, the more internal peace we'll be able to create. So I am conscious of the stressors around me, but they do not define my worth. Number two, I release the need to conform to society's definition of success. And that's just a piggyback off of the first one. I release the need to conform to society's definition of success. I release the need to conform to society's definition of stress. So we may be stressed because we allow society to define what our life should look like. We allow social media to define. We allow, our workplace to define. We allow our family to define. We allow our friends to define. We allow our spouses or our partners to define. We allow everyone around us to define what success should look like. And when our success does not look like those ideologies, then it creates stress, it creates burnout, it creates sadness and hopelessness and worthlessness and depression. It creates all of these things. And what we want to cultivate internally is love, joy, peace, kindness, gentleness. Those are the things that we want to cultivate. And where it's going to be very difficult to do that when we're consistently in comparison with what the definitions. Hi, Julie, welcome in. What definitions we're going off of when it comes to the comparisons. Okay, so really thinking about what forms of society has shaped your identity, and what are those things you have to challenge. And in order to challenge, you have to be self-aware. We talked about that earlier, but being self-aware to understand like what is defining those things and challenge it, right? Some of these things may be what you want, maybe what success may look like for you. But until you ask that question, you will never know, right? So thinking about that, that was number 2. Number 3 is I am in control of my response to the daily pressures around me. I am in control of my responses to the daily pressures around me. I am in control of my responses to the daily pressures around me. So understand that we have control of how we respond, what we consume, and the boundaries we set. Okay? We have control of how we respond, what we consume, and the boundaries we set. And I'll add another, what we believe. Okay? We have complete control of how we respond, what we believe, what we consume, and the boundaries we set. Okay? When you think about faith and fear, I think this was a pastor actually might have said this. I think it might have been Jerry Flowers, when it says that with faith and fear, both require a belief. They both require for you to believe in something. One can generate positive results, and the other can generate negative results. It's up to us on what we choose to believe, right? So we are able to control how we respond. So don't pop off, okay? Stop snapping off, y'all. What we believe, take in, and what we consume, what we watch, what we look at, what we listen to. We have the ability to control who we surround ourselves with. We have the ability to control all of that. So what we respond to, or how we respond, and what we respond to, how we respond, what we believe, what we consume, and the boundaries we set. Okay, the boundaries we set are important. If we're not setting boundaries, this is why we're stressed. A lot of times we're stressed because we lack boundaries. And until we're able to put those boundaries in place, and it's not just putting the boundaries in place, but it's also sticking to the boundaries and holding others accountable to those boundaries. And when people continue to surpass those boundaries and they ignore the boundaries that you have set, removing yourself. That's the hard part, especially for when it's in relationship with people we love, whether it be our friends, our family, or our spouses, partners, whatever. So really thinking about those things and understanding that we have the ability to control those things. Okay. Number 4, I deserve to live authentically regardless of societal pressures. I deserve to live authentically regardless of societal pressures. I deserve to live authentically regardless of societal pressures. So you deserve to be authentically you no matter the audience, no matter what room you step into, no matter what space you're in, no matter if it's virtual or in person, no matter, you deserve to be authentically you no matter the audience. And a lot of times we are experiencing external pressures because we are wearing a mask. We're not being ourselves, right? We're not, we're being this facade of ourselves. And when we are a facade of ourselves and we are acting in a way that's not authentic to us, it may feel familiar because we do it all the time. And just because something feels familiar, it doesn't mean that that's what it's supposed to be, and that doesn't mean that it is you truly to your core. So I deserve to live authentically regardless of societal pressures is just a reminder for us to know and understand that we deserve to be who we are and show up in spaces however we decide to show up, okay? So understand you can take up space. There's nothing wrong with you taking up space. Sometimes I'm just like, for me, I am an introvert and an extrovert. So sometimes I'm very outgoing and outspoken, and other times I'm really reserved. And sometimes that can be confusing for people that are around me often. And so I would feel bad about it. So I would like force myself to be this outgoing, talkative person, even though internally I was screaming, like, I just don't want to be here. I just don't want to be this. This isn't me for today. You today may look different tomorrow, and that's okay. And I think sometimes you have to feel like we have to fake the funk. You don't have to fake the funk, y'all. If it's not the best day, it's not the best day. If you're more reserved today, then you're more reserved today. If you're outspoken and lively today, then you're more outspoken and lively today. It's okay. It's all right to not have a good day. So that's one of the things that is most important. The more you can show up in a space authentically, the more at peace you will be internally, which removes stress, right? It regulates the nervous system when you're able to just be yourself. And I feel like a lot of us don't even feel like we can be ourselves, not even at home with the people that we love in our space. So really think through all of those things and take heed in spaces that you feel like you're not able to be authentically you, and ask yourself why. Okay? At work, I stopped putting on my white girl voice. I stopped. I talk just like this. And it's okay. People are all right with it. Like, oh, that's just Debbie. It's fine. That's just her. Now, what? Am I professional? Yes. But I'm not about to change my voice to, I'm not doing that, y'all. I'm going to show up just like this with the curly hair and my accent. And that's what's going to be. Okay? So that was number 4. And then the last affirmation is, I find peace within, even when the world feels chaotic. I find peace within, or you can change the language to, I can find peace within. I find peace within, even when the world feels chaotic. I find peace within, even when the world feels chaotic. Peace within yourself is what's most important. Chaos will always be present in society. Always. And that's something that we just have to accept. Not to say it's great, not to say it's wonderful, but it would be unrealistic for us to think that society and the environment around us is never going to be chaotic to some extent, because we're living in a world full of different people, different ideologies, different ideas, different expectations, different environments, and with all of that, there's going to be some sense of chaos. And that's just something that we have to understand. But even though we have that understanding and that come to that acceptance of that, it doesn't mean that we can't find peace internally. So that was the 5 affirmations. And then we have 2 journal prompts. But just, I hope y'all can hear me. It was acting weird. So those are the 5, the journal prompts that I would like for you guys to take away. If you want to explore this a little bit more, the first question is, which areas of my life feel most affected by societal stress? And how does this impact my well-being and choices? I'll say it again. Which areas of my life feel most affected by societal stress? And how does this impact my well-being and choices? I'll also put this in the notes at the bottom once I save this video. I will put that in there so that way you guys can refer back to it. And then I'll also put the list of the societal pressures just in case you want to refer back to that too. The second question is, what specific actions or changes can I make to better manage, reduce, or eliminate these societal stressors? What specific actions or challenges can I make to better manage, reduce, or eliminate these societal stressors? Okay, so I'll put the questions at the bottom in the notes, and then I'll put the list of stressors in case you need to, or pressures you want to refer back to it. I hope this was helpful today, y'all, especially with the climate that we're in. It's been crazy, just for me personally. So I know that if I'm feeling it, that you guys are probably feeling it too. Again, if this is your first time, my name is Debbie. I'm a certified mindfulness coach. This channel and page is all things mindfulness. We do this live every Monday on Instagram now. We're on Instagram, back on Instagram now, and on YouTube. But all of these lives will be saved on YouTube. So if you want to see the playback Instagram, you got to go to YouTube to watch the playback. And yeah, so we will talk through discovering our values next week, because I'm my bad, y'all. It had tied in the poll, and then at some point today it actually went, that one was actually number 1. So my bad, I was prepping for this one. So I'll go ahead and prep for that for next week. And until then, y'all, I have a blessed rest of your night, and you will see a new meditation for this topic either Saturday or Sunday. The one on purpose from last week was posted this morning, so you should be able to see that now too. Y'all have a great rest of your day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Bye, Hiru. Thank you.